Still alive, and we back with another one, man. And people have really been loving the Larry Bird one, so I'm gonna keep doing some more of these. And this is just NBA legends explaining why Larry Bird was so unstoppable. I haven't watched any of it yet. We're gonna live react to this together. Make sure y'all drop a like, comment, subscribe, and any videos that you guys would like me to watch below. I can't get to all of them. I'm trying to get to them some because I've had people leave me list of like 30 videos, and I appreciate it. I'm trying to get to as many as I can, but I can't get to them all, obviously. But keep dropping them, you know what I mean? Keep putting suggestions down there because I do look through them. So, especially if there's a link with them. If there's a link with them, it's easier. So, I appreciate everybody who's been helping, man. We're going to get right off into this.
Larry Bird that everybody knows. If you have spent any time watching basketball content, you have seen the highlights and you think you understand what made him great. But there is a difference between knowing what Bird did and understanding what it felt like to try and stop him.
Facts.
Because the players who actually had that assignment, the best defenders in the world, the men whose entire professional purpose was to slow down opposing stars, they all tell the same story. That Bird was the one they could not figure out. The one who made them feel helpless in a way that nobody else ever did. The one who, no matter how much you prepared, no matter how much film you watched, no matter how good you were at your job, showed up on game night and did whatever he wanted anyway.
Facts. I've learned. I already kind of knew that, you know what I mean, because like I've always, as somebody who's younger, I've always respected the legends, and I knew Larry Bird was a dog. But the more and more videos I get into about him, I realize he really was a dog. Like,
What you are about to watch is the people who were actually on the floor, with Bird explaining, in their own words, why stopping him was simply not something that could be done. Not because he was the fastest, not because he was the most athletic, but because of something harder to define and impossible to defend. A combination of skill, intelligence, and relentless
yeah, some of the plays I've seen him do just make no sense to me.
fine and impossible to defend.
Like this.
A combination of skill, intelligence, and relentless competitive will that made him the most unstoppable player the game has ever seen. John Salley won 4 NBA championships with 3 different franchises: the Detroit Pistons, Bad Boys Dynasty, the Chicago Bulls, and the Los Angeles Lakers. He shared the floor with Michael Jordan during the height of the Bulls dynasty. He competed against Magic Johnson during the Showtime Lakers era. He was inside the most elite basketball environments of the last 40 years, surrounded by the best players the sport has ever produced. When Salley tells you who the hardest player to guard was, he has the receipts to back it up.
But obviously he was the hardest to cover. I mean, Wilkins, guys like that were tough to cover
Larry
too.
Bird was the hardest to cover.
Really?
Magic Johnson
harder.
too, because Magic Johnson would back down and start the offense. Most point guards started from the top of the key. Magic would start it from the box. If you didn't come double him, he was going to shoot a hook shot over a 6'1" or 6'2" guy.
Yeah, because Magic Johnson was a super tall point guard.
So
Or
Larry
like
Bird-
Dennis, the 6'8" guy.
Larry Bird he was the hardest?
Larry Bird was, for me, the hardest. Larry Bird had a bad back, which I also believe was a compacted colon, right? Because it gives you
God,
muscle
how much
spasm.
longer would his career have gone if he
If
took
if I would have let him know, and we would have literally been able to do the things.
Yeah.
And if Larry would have been doing Pilates and
Yoga
and yoga and strengthening
meditation.
whatever, maybe he wouldn't have had those back problems.
Because he didn't need
Well, he broke his back, so that's
athleticism necessarily like a lot of these other guys. Because he's almost like Joker.
But he was really athletic though.
he really was. I give him shit and say he can't jump over a 2x4, but he's more athletic than I remember. Like the more and more I've been watching him, he's way more athletic than I remember. Like he was dunking on people. He was fast, actually. Like there's videos where he's behind everybody and still the first one down the court. So like he wasn't slow. He just played at his own pace.
And I say that to somebody, he may have looked slow, but he wasn't
No, he wasn't. He would in the paint shit. He was moving so quick, faking people out with his ball fakes and shit. He wasn't slow at all.
slow. He was coming down,
he was
dunking
quick,
on
yeah.
people. It's just,
Kind of like Luka looks slow, but he's shifty.
look at him nowhere close to Larry.
Really?
Nowhere close. Nowhere close.
Anthony Mason had just been called up from the CBA to play for the New Jersey Nets. He was a physical specimen, muscles everywhere, built like a truck. The kind of player who made coaches and scouts do double takes just based on how he was put together. He was not yet the player he would eventually become, but physically, he looked like he belonged. He looked ready. But Larry Bird looked at him and saw a target.
Remember Anthony Mason, just the kind of the point forward, powered guy, just big, strong guy. We're playing. He's in New Jersey now. They call him up and from the D League or the CBA or whatever it was called back then. And he's sitting out there, and man, that guy's like, he's got, muscles everywhere. So before the game, Larry looks at him. He goes, "Hey, Kevin." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Look at this guy, man." And he's standing there. He goes, "Look at all those muscles." And, and Anthony Mason is just standing there, kind of posing. And then Larry looks at him and goes, "Yeah, all those muscles aren't going to help you tonight."
All them muscles aren't going to help you tonight.
I'm going to bust you up. And Larry would shoot the ball and yell muscles when he was shooting it. And
shoot the ball and yell muscles is crazy.
Laughed about it. He was a piece. That's what I tell people.
Wow.
Larry is a funny guy. He makes fun of him.
Yeah, like his shit talking though it wasn't like aggressive shit talking, like yelling at you, nothing like that. It was more like sometimes it was funny shit talking, but it would still get in your head where he'd be like, "Don't you got you only got white guys who can guard me?" He's like, you can't put a white guy on me," shit like that. Like, or calling his shot like, "Man, I ain't even gonna go for the 2. I'm just gonna go for the 3. I'm tired," and go home. And then hit the 3. Like little shit like that. That's low-key funny as hell.
Himself, he's self-deprecating. Larry is a lot different than you see the button-down Larry that he is in public. Is a lot different than the Larry that we saw all the time. And I was lucky enough. I did a little thing for him for NBA TV, and we got together and played some golf and had a few beers. And within 2 minutes, we were just laughing about old stuff and had a great couple of days with Larry and his wife Dinah and his son Connor. So.
Byron Scott spent years going up against Larry Bird in some of the most intense playoff series the NBA has ever seen. Lakers versus Celtics, Magic versus Bird. The rivalry that defined a decade. Scott had seen everything professional basketball had to offer.
Byron Scott was a beast. Like, I don't know if I'll end up doing any videos on him, but I do know who he is, and I've, watching the Lakers and shit, like I've studied the old Lakers and stuff. So of course he was a beast. He was a good shooter for sure.
He played alongside Magic Johnson, competed against Michael Jordan, and went up against the greatest players of his era on the biggest stages available. He was not easily rattled. He was not easily impressed. And then he watched Bird announce an entire play to the Lakers bench before it happened and execute it perfectly.
A lot of people don't know this. You probably know this, Dan, but Larry Bird was one of the biggest trash talkers in basketball. And a lot of people say, really? They thought it was Reggie or Charles. Larry Bird talked more trash on the basketball court than anybody I've ever played against. And he told me 2 things one game. Our rotations, double teaming Kevin McHale, always had to rotate to the corner, and Larry Bird was the one shooting it. So he shot one, and I'm trying to block this shot, and he would just tell me, "Scott, you're a little too late."
You're a little too late, a little too short, and a little too late.
A little too late. So we playing them in the last play. He says to James Worthy, he says, "You guys don't have to worry about it. I'm going to go right over there that corner." He said, "They're going to set a screen for me. We're taking the ball out." He said, "I'm going to curl right over." And he's telling us to play. He's telling us to play before they even take it out. He said, "I'm going to go right over to that corner, and I'm going to catch it, and I'm going to shoot it, and I'm going to tie the game or win the game," whatever the case may be. They take the ball out, and I think it was either Danny or DJ.
This is the shit I'm talking about. Him literally telling the other bench about what the fuck he's going to do is hilarious. Hilarious. It wouldn't have been at that time. You know what I mean? Because you'd be pissed. Like, did he really just fuck? But it's hilarious.
Great DJ. Yeah. Take the ball out. The man curl right to the corner. Caught the shot. Shot a 3. Game over. It's like, are you effing kidding me? It's my Larry Bird story.
Bird used to tell people. I remember he told me a story about Xavier McDaniel. He said,
X-Man, yeah.
X, I'm going to get the ball right here. I'm going to shoot a jumper right in your face. And then he got the ball and shot it right in his face.
Yeah.
And Bird says to X, "I told you I was going to do it."
I like your accent. I like it. That's pretty good. But that was Larry. I mean, Larry was just, and he was saying in such a calm way that you didn't think it was trash talking, but it's trash talking. You're not going to tell me you're going to go over there and shoot the ball in my face. That's trash talking. But he would tell you before the play even started. He just come out and say, guys, you ain't got to worry. This is where the ball going. I'm going to catch it over here. And he would tell you to play and catch it over there and shoot it.
James Worthy
insane, bro. And the fact that they would know the play and still couldn't stop him, crazy work.
Spent the better part of a decade on the other side of the most intense rivalry in professional basketball. 3 championships with the Lakers, 3 finals appearances against the Celtics. Years of watching Bird do things on a basketball court that made him want to throw something at the television on his days off. Worthy did not like Larry Bird. He was not supposed to like Larry Bird. The entire culture of the Showtime Lakers was built around being better than the Celtics, which meant being better than Bird, which meant carrying a very specific competitive hatred toward him for as long as they were both playing. And then decades passed, and Worthy sat down and told the truth.
The Lakers-Celtics thing, where apparently one of these seasons, you guys played the Celtics 4 times in the preseason?
Yes.
Is 4 times in the preseason?
Yes.
Why would the NBA put 4 times in the preseason?
Because it was the rivalry that was keeping the NBA alive at that time. Bird versus Magic was keeping the NBA alive. So they were trying to get as many Lakers and Celtics games as they possibly could.
They made a lot of money. Made a lot of money. And if you recall, in the 70s, the NBA was going through an image issue. They were having some problems. They didn't really have an identity. Commissioner Stern comes in 1983, and he capitalizes on 2 people. One name was Larry Bird. The other name was Magic Johnson. They had played in college, Indiana State, Michigan State. Then you got Larry Bird playing for the Celtics. You got Magic Johnson playing for the Lakers.
Facts.
And then he consummates this huge CBS contract. And he says, I have something right here. I got blue collar Boston, and I got Showtime kind of Tinseltown Los Angeles.
Facts. And they used it to make the NBA what it is today. If without Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, I don't think the NBA would be near as big as it is today. It wouldn't have grown because, like, they were really close to bankruptcy and shit in the 70s, in the 80s. You know what I mean? Like, the NBA wasn't what it is today. They weren't making the money hand over fist like they do today.
And he worked on that. He built that up. Never have we played 4 times preseason. And we had 4 games. There was fights every game in October. And I'm fresh, I'm fresh out of college, and I'm like, what's going on? It feels like June and October, and man. And then I talked to Bill Sharman, who recently passed on, who was the true Zen master of the Lakers. He won 33 games in a row, 1972 championship.
I didn't know that.
Talked to him, and then he told me the history of the Celtics and the Lakers. The Lakers had never beaten the Celtics. I think the Celtics beat them like 8 times. Jerry West, all those years we played the Celtics, never went back to Boston. That's how tough it was on him. He never stepped foot in the Boston Garden. So then I began to understand what we were representing. And we were representing Chick Hearn, Wilt Chamberlain, Jerry West, all those guys that lost. And then you got that arrogant, cocky Larry Bird trash talking all the time.
And was he really arrogant? Was he really, really arrogant?
Well, yeah, he could back it up. So,
yeah, he was allowed to be. He was Larry Bird.
When you're arrogant and you can back it up, you're not arrogant. You're just good.
Yeah, exactly. You're not being cocky. You just know your own abilities.
And Larry was good. And but I finally got it.
In 1987, Dennis Rodman made one of the most controversial statements in NBA history, suggesting that Bird was only as celebrated as he was because he was white, and that if Bird were black, he would be considered just another good player. The comment exploded across the league and the media.
Stop the cap, Rodman. Stop it.
Yeah. Isaiah Thomas tried to walk it back on Bird's behalf. Bird himself addressed it with characteristic composure, and Rodman spent the next several years as one of the most scrutinized players in the league, partly because of those words.
Well, I remember after playing the Celtics that year, you made a comment. You said, Larry Bird is overrated in a lot of areas. Why does he get so much publicity? Because he's white. You never hear about a black player being the greatest. When you look back on that, do you still agree? Do you think that Larry Bird was overrated, or do you think you were just mad at the time?
No, I told you. I just said I was green. I was just saying anything, man, just because, you know what? I was frustrated because guess what? I got my ass whooped by this kid. You know, so that's why I probably said something like that, not because I was angry or hatred or something like that. No, it just came out like that. And because I really wasn't paying attention to the whole league. I was just paying attention to my team and stuff like that. And I would just wonder why this guy's so good, or whatever you call it. I'm like, great. And so I think I would have said the same thing about if he was black. I think I would have said the same thing. I would have said something in a different direction. But so happy he had to be,
Dude, Rodman's really went downhill. He can't even hardly string a coherent sentence together. Like, I'm not the best speaker in the world by any means, but Rodman can barely put a coherent sentence together. Holy crap, dude.
Larry Bird, and I apologize that many, many times over.
And when you hear other stories of how Dennis Rodman had to interact and play against Larry Bird, you can probably understand why he was so frustrated with him.
I didn't know the rivalry was like that until I got to participate in the first game in 1986, 87, and I tried to do my best to guard Larry Bird. It didn't work too well. He kind of schooled me a little bit. The whole game.
He said it didn't go too well.
Every game we played, he said, Dennis, are you guarding me? Take that for you. All right, I take that, Larry. I take that. There's sort of jump shot. I said, Dennis, you like that? I said, you know what, man, the hell with you. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. But
that's
after
funny
a couple
as
years under my belt, I said, okay, great. I belong in this league, brother. I belong in this league, and all of a sudden now Larry Bird started to respect me. Then you can see at the last the years we played in the Silverdome that you saw that brawl that when I tried to block Larry Bird's shot, Bill Lambrier came over and I fell backwards, and Bill Lambrier came and gave Larry a chop, with a forearm. And then all of a sudden the melee that's when the rivalry started really to happen right there. Yeah. All of a sudden I said, oh man, I'm in the league now. This is fun now. This is fun. This is fun.
Dennis is a madman, but I'm the same way, dude. Like, bro, I think the physicality needs to come back. Like, I miss when the fights would happen and shit. Like, that shit brings a rivalry. It brings that energy. It brings that wanting to win at all costs. Like, we got to stop suspending people for 10, 15 games because of fights and shit. Suspending people for a long time just because of fights. We got to stop kicking people out because of fights. Like, that shit's got to stop, I think, in my opinion.
So I became the quiet assassin with the bad boys. I did my job. I did the dirty work. I love the work. I love the people. And that just drove me to do bigger and better things with the Detroit Pistons. And, I just joined the bad boys because I loved it.
Yeah. You just mentioned your matchups against Larry Bird. I'm a basketball historian and a basketball analyst, and especially with the old school basketball. I noticed in your rookie season, every single time you entered the game, you guarded Larry Bird. And I was wondering, was Chuck Daly the one who put you, a rookie, on Larry Bird, or was it you?
I just think the fact that he saw a guy, I think Chuck Daly, bless his soul, love that guy. He's like a god.
God is crazy.
He saw I was so elusive. I had so much energy. He figured that I could just sit there for 48 minutes a game and just guard anybody in the world. And he put the trust in me. And I always told Chuck, I said, Chuck, just let me play. Let me play. I just want to do anything you want me to do. Just let me play. He said, Dennis, go call Larry Bird. At that point, I didn't know who the hell Larry Bird was. I just thought he was a white guy just in the NBA. That's about it. That's what I thought it was.
He didn't know. My fucking ass, bro. My ass, Dennis Rodman was in the league and didn't really know who Larry Bird was. Didn't know Larry Bird could play like that. Cap. Those are the first things people are telling you when you get to the league is, who really can ball in all this. Dennis Rodman knew who he was.
The next thing that said, he reminded me that Dennis, that's a legend. I said, all right, great. Now what? Now go out there and play, right? That's me. Go out there and play his ass. Okay, great. The more I play Larry Bird, all of a sudden now I got to figure out this game belongs to Dennis Rodman as far as defense and rebounding. And I became this such a phenomenon as far as that was my determination.
Dennis Rodman was a beast. He wasn't much of a scorer, but when it came to rebounding and defense and shit, and hustling, diving for loose balls and shit like that, that was all him.
Go out there and stop the best guys, the best player on each team. That was my job.
Michael Cooper spent his entire NBA career trying to stop Larry Bird. 5 finals appearances against the Celtics, years of game planning, film study, defensive rotations, and every trick in the book. And Bird still found a way to make him look helpless on a regular basis. Cooper was arguably the greatest individual perimeter defender of his era. He won the Defensive Player of the Year award. He held Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, and George Gervin to their lowest scoring averages in individual matchups.
I did not know this.
If anyone was built to slow down Bird, it was Cooper. But it was so damn tough to stop Larry Bird.
When I first got to San Antonio, he's like, you see all the stars you got. If you want to get on the court, you better play defense. Larry Bird, one of the best basketball players of all time, talked about you as being one of the best defenders ever. You was. How do you feel hearing it from a guy like Larry Bird?
You know what? One of the things, we all know this, playing against your peers, you always want to be respected.
Right.
And he was one of the best. I never tried to hurt him or anything like that.
See, that's something I don't like nowadays. The hard fouls and stuff like that, cool. But the dirty play, like when you see OKC stepping on Wemby's feet and shit when he's trying to jump and shit, that, like he said, you never try to hurt a player. I don't like that shit nowadays. You see a lot of that dirty play. Not like the rough play like the bad boy Pistons were doing where they were just fouling people hard as fuck. That's different. I think that's okay. But the little intentional shit to try to injure players, like stepping on their feet or kicking their legs out from under them or little shit like that, that shit's fucking dangerous.
You know, Detroit had the Jordan rules and Philadelphia, and I just tried to play Larry head up and just play him as honest as I could, because the great ones, you're not going to affect them with that bullshit to come. You know, pulling their shirts, talking shit to him, but you couldn't talk to Larry because he ignored you. But to hear him say that shows me that the things that I was doing on the court was the right way to do it. And again, just being respected by your peers is always nice.
Take me into preparing for being one of the best defenders ever. Take me into preparing for guarding a star like Larry Bird. Like, what do you do? Like, how do you prepare for a game? Because, like, I don't know if they had scouting reports like they did back then, because we had scouting reports.
Yeah.
Did y'all have scouting reports as well on players?
We had scouting reports, but again, it was a lot of video. You know, we used to have beta and VHS, those big things. So it was just a lot of video watching of him. Like, watched all his games back then. A lot of our games was on tape delay, so we had a chance to play. And then after the game, I would come home and watch our game and then watch his. So
yeah, I mean, even when it was on DVDs, but like that's how, like when I was in junior high and shit, it wasn't on tapes no more. It was on DVDs.
Preparing for the great ones, though, is going to always be hard, because it's not about anybody in the NBA,
junior high and high
basketball
school
in general, can get a shot off.
Right.
And I think as a defensive-minded person, and Jack, you probably attest to this a little bit, all you want to do is affect their shot just a little bit. Alter it, make them shoot a little bit higher. But the one thing that I've always recognized about great offensive players is there are spots on the court that they shoot the ball well from.
Michael Jordan was the mid-range, especially the top of the key. If Michael Jordan got anywhere at the top of the key, it was impossible. Larry Bird was the mid-range, but Larry Bird could also the corner threes and the top of the key threes. He was a lights-out shooter from up there also.
And George Gervin told me, he said, listen, if I get to my spot, ain't shit you can do with me. Right. So in thinking like that, my job was just to keep him off that spot. And Larry, that's what I tried to do with him. But, you know, people ask me all the time, who's the hardest player? And I always say him, because I played against Michael Jordan, George Gervin, Andrew Toney. And those guys, when they pass the ball, they have a tendency to take a break for a second. Larry never was going to take a break. Larry's going to go get an offensive rebound. He's going to go set a back pick. He was going to do something to impact that possession. So that's why he was the hardest.
He's about, what, 6'8", 6'9"?
6'9".
6'9", big.
Constantly on the moves, crazy.
JJ Redick is a former NBA player, a respected basketball analyst, and a man who generally knows what he is talking about when it comes to the sport. But in 2024, he said something about Larry Bird that touched a nerve with the people who actually shared the floor with him, suggesting that Bird's era was less physically demanding than the modern game.
He's dumb as fuck. It was way more physically demanding.
That the defensive physicality Bird...
When I heard LeBron say playing 82 games or 81 games in today's era isn't as hard or is harder than it was to play 82 games in the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s, I was like, bro, you're retarded. Excuse my language, but I'm like, dude, you're dumb. What are you talking about? It's hard. No, it's never been easier. You guys do load management and all types of shit now. No, them players went out there hurt and played as many games as they possibly could.
Faced was overstated compared to what a player like Steph Curry deals with today. Dominique Wilkins heard it, and he was not having it.
There was a debate on ESPN with a former player in JJ Redick just recently, and they were debating Bird and Curry. And one of the things they said is that Redick said is that Curry has faced more physicality. We called him out on.
Let me say something. Yeah. First of all, Redick don't know what the hell he's talking about. I'm gonna say it right.
I agree.
He don't know what the hell he's talking about. I'm like, what basketball was you watching?
Yeah.
To say something as idiotic as that is ridiculous. The physicality that was a part of the league. Hey, look, when you can put your hand on a guy's hip and make him go a certain way, if you can put that elbow in his chest to slow him up, which we call slowing a guy up when you coming down the lane, so how many guys can deal with that type of pressure? And for J.J. Redick, who've played this game, I'm very disappointed that he has said something so stupid. This is the thing I'm having a problem with. Bird, who's a big guy, who got bumped all the time, we played around the basket more than guards played around the basket. So I don't understand the logic for him saying that. Yeah. When clearly those big guys, even to the big guys today, they get touched a little bit more than little guys because they're around the basket. So it just don't make sense when – this is the thing I hate the most. We had our time.
He's saying it straight right now, man. He's letting the fucking world know how he's speaking the truth, though. I'm 25, and I still know, like, he's speaking 100% the truth. And the fact that J.J. Redick actually played in the league and has been around basketball his whole life and watched basketball and would honestly say something this fucking dumb is crazy.
It's a great time. It's their time now.
Yes.
But don't crap on us to prove your point.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make sense and it's not valid.
Yeah.
But the same
it's not valid at all.
Sam and myself, the old guys hating.
No,
hating on what? I don't hate on these guys.
You're responding right now.
Yeah.
You're not.
I don't hate on these guys. These guys are great. I just don't like the disrespect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to say that about Larry Bird, it was less physical. Is he stupid?
To back MVP.
It's just.
He said back to back to back MVP. You better put some respect on Larry Legend.
Stupid comment to make. I mean, it ain't got nothing to do with Steph Curry or Larry.
Yeah.
It's the content.
Exactly. We just broke down the end result.
It doesn't make sense. And he should know better than that.
Yeah. Facts. He should. J.J. Redick should definitely know better than that.
And I don't care what he feel about me, what his response might be. But when I hear that, and I'm like, you really don't know, do you?
Mike Woodson has been around the basketball world, and when talking about Indiana Hoosier basketball, he couldn't help but somehow get Indiana State legend Larry Bird's name into the conversation, even though it was pretty much unrelated. And he used Bird as a baseline for someone who could do it all.
Larry Bird, when I'm starting my team, Larry Bird's on my first team.
Right. Oh, everything, right. Hey, I agree. I'm a Larry Bird fan to the
I'm a big Larry Bird fan, but Grunwald had overtones like Larry. Mm-hmm. He could pass, he could shoot, but his knees just wouldn't allow him to play, man. And it's a shame because Indiana fans, Hoosier Nation, really never got to see a guy who I thought could really, really be a great player, man.
Right.
Additionally, in a podcast lost to the media now, he said that
I don't know who he's talking about, their other player.
MJ and Bird were the best two trash talkers he had ever seen because they could back it up. What every single person in this video has in common is that they were there. They were not watching from the stands or reading about it the next morning. They were on the floor. They were the ones getting schooled, getting talked at, getting warned about what was coming, and being completely unable to stop it anyway. These are the most credible witnesses the Larry Bird story has ever had. And to a man, every single one of them tells the same story in a different way. That he was simply better than you, not just physically, not just technically, but in every dimension.
Yeah. His energy and the nonstop drive too, though, is one thing. Like, you don't have to be the most athletic or the most naturally gifted. If you have a nonstop energy drive, like they said, as soon as the ball's out of his hands, he's moving still. He's not standing there with his hands on his knees. Like, if you have nonstop energy, man, you could be one of the greats.
Mention that a basketball player can be better than another basketball player. He out-thought you. He out-prepared you. He out-competed you. And then he told you about it before, during and after it happened. Not out of arrogance, not out of ego, but because he had already done the math and the answer was so obvious to him that it barely seemed worth keeping to himself. Dennis Rodman spent years getting destroyed by Bird and finally admitted it was because Bird simply whooped him. James Worthy thought he was going to wet himself.
Why did he say whooped like that? It's whooped.
When Bird caught the ball in the 1987 finals. Dominique Wilkins went on the radio to defend Bird's legacy against people who never had to guard him. Mike Woodson played 10 NBA seasons and still says the beauty of Bird's trash talk was that he always backed it up. And the entire Showtime Lakers dynasty, the men who beat Bird twice in the finals, sat in a room together and finally admitted that he was the greatest player they ever competed against. That's the full picture, not the highlights.
Yeah, Showtime Lakers also never got to compete against prime, you know what I mean, Kareem, James Worthy, Magic Johnson, all in their prime in the 80s when they were winning championships. Never competed against the 1991 till 1998 Chicago Bulls, though.
The championships.
The players did. Magic played against him. You know, I mean, Larry Bird played against him and stuff. But I was just meaning, like, in their championship runs where MJ took over the league. Like, I still think MJ's the GOAT, but I think Larry Bird's my number 3. Right behind Kobe Bryant is my number 2.
Testimony of the people who were actually there, the ones who tried to stop him and could not, the ones who competed against him and could not forget it, the ones who spent 30 years processing what it felt like to share a court with Larry Bird and still reach for the right words every single time. They never quite get there. But listening to them try is the closest anyone will ever get to understanding what Larry Legend actually was. Thanks.
Facts, man. He was a beast. That's really all you could say about him. Like, if somebody tries to take credit away from Larry Bird like the way JJ Redick did, there's probably a reason beneath why he's trying to take credit away from one of those people. And it's probably because JJ Redick is best friends with LeBron and always trying to push LeBron up to that being the best player of all time. So he's trying to discredit a lot of the other people that people put up there as the best players of all time, like Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Larry Bird. He's always trying to discredit them players. You'll hear JJ Redick say that Kobe Bryant is like the 8th or 9th best player ever. And it's like, dude, if you honestly believe Kobe Bryant is 8 or 9, then you are literally trying to disprove Kobe Bryant's greatness just so you can push your best friend to the top of that. When anybody who unbiasedly looks at it can be like, okay, Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Kobe Bryant, they're all better than LeBron James. As much as I like LeBron James, I'm a LeBron fan, I think they're all better than him. But let me know what you guys think below, man. It's still live checking out. Make sure y'all drop a like, comment, subscribe. Peace out, y'all.